Good morning. My name is Mike McKearns with Aviante Staffing Software. It's a beautiful day here, mid-August in Pennsylvania, which typically marks the beginning of our busy season here at Aviante. Lots of companies are going to start their software evaluations at this time with the goal of a January 1 go live date. Totally the topic for another video, but this date is often overrated and not needed. However, what I'd like to share with you today are the top 5 most overlooked considerations when evaluating staffing software platforms. There are a ton of articles out there that share areas that you should focus on for your evaluation, like does it integrate with my own other systems? How are the analytics? Is the UI easy to learn? Does it fill the gaps left by our existing platform? All of the advice I've read is fantastic and should definitely be considered. However, the following 5 areas are often overlooked but carry a ton of weight. First and foremost, where do you see the software company in 5 to 10 years? While most agreements are in place for 2 to 3 years, switching platforms is not something that most companies are going to do on a regular basis. You need to look at the relationship with your new software provider as a marriage where each party benefits. Talk to the CEO, ask him or her to share plans to advance the functionality or usability of the platform and how these plans can future-proof your organization. And to keep everyone honest, ask for last year's roadmap along with how they executed against it. So we've all heard the roadmap jokes in the software industry before, and this is an easy way to see how seriously they take theirs. The second area to consider, which is closely related to the first, is how much money the company spends on research and development. Instead of a hard dollar amount, I think it's best to understand this number in relation to total revenue. So while many companies are going to grow by acquiring new tech through acquisitions, the best ones out there are intently focused on enhancing their current offerings. Next, how do they manage implementations? Generally, there's going to be 2 approaches to implementations. Implementations executed by third-party consultants and implementations that are run by dedicated internal team members of the chosen software companies. While both of these are going to get the job done, there are some inherent benefits, I believe, to an implementation run by an in-house team. The top 2 that come to mind are deeper knowledge of the platform in its current and future state, and the implementation department is not a profit center, which can result in significant cost savings on your end. Next, no matter how tenured your staff and how awesome the staffing software is, you absolutely will have a need to call on support many times throughout the year. Some questions to ask are, what are their fees for support? Will you have a dedicated support rep? Are support calls outsourced to a third party, or are they handled by an internal team? What are their response times? What happens if you have a critical issue outside of normal business hours? That 3 a.m. issue on a Saturday where jobs aren't feeding through. We don't call support to hear friendly voice. You call because there's a problem that you need to have fixed as quickly as possible. And this is why I think that support is one of the most overlooked areas. If the provider charges for support, those fees can pile up quickly throughout the year and need to be considered. Last, but certainly not least, assuming that the company you're looking at is not a startup, they're sure to have had some bumps in the road over the years related to one or more aspects of their business. Ask the software company that classic interview question, tell me about a time you failed. They all have. And the processes that they put in place to recover and reduce the probability of a repeat are what matters. In the words of the great Zig Ziglar, it's not how far you fall, but how high you bounce that counts. If your staffing company is ready to start an evaluation to see if there's room for improvement when it comes to efficiency or talent experience, visibility into your business, or you simply need a better partnership, drop me a note. I'd love to talk.